Hello, my name is Lumor Sunil and welcome to the devlog of the game that I'm making here, a side-scroller action RPG. Last time we imported animations from a JSON file that we can export from the animation tool that I also made in Zig. This time we are going to focus on adding some more animations to the monster. I'm gonna add a hurt animation as well, and I'm gonna make the player able to attack the monster so that the monster will actually play the hurt animation if the player is close enough to actually hurt the monster. Yeah, I'm also gonna fix the bug when the player is flipped to the right. It sometimes flickers in the graphics, and I think I found a solution for that. So I want to do a couple of things. So I want to fix the flicker issue. We want to add the monster hurt animation. We want to play the hurt animation when the player attacks, and obviously you need to stand close to the monster. But yeah, and we'll see if we get to health and death this episode. But we'll start here and see how long it takes to get this done. So first off, doing the flicker thing. So what I did was in my player component, I had added a direction. So before it looks like this, so we had a direction, and that direction can be either left or right. And that helps with knowing which direction is like the intent of the player. So if it's set to left when the player presses the left key, and right when you press the right key, and that determines the horizontal flip of the actual animation itself. So that works for the player. However, it doesn't work for anything else. So what I did was I thought, hey, why don't I use the ECS system and break this out into a component instead? And I also realized what the issue was with the flickering itself. The issue was that it's simply an issue of ordering of operations. So the animation update comes last, and that's the one that actually switches out the texture component. And within the texture component, you actually have, it switches out the texture component to the next frame. And in the texture component, we actually have horizontal flip. And since we override this value, we overwrite it when we change the animation frame here, we actually overwrite the horizontal flip value that we set previously in the frame. So for one frame, you can see the flickering of the flip, and when it corrects itself before it changes to the next frame. Sometimes you don't even see it. I guess it's because the frames are too fast or something. Or it might be that the value has been overwritten. But anyway, that's basically, I think, why you get the flickering. And so I broke the direction out into this component here. And I will simply add this component back to the player in the scene. So in here, I will have a horizontal component, horizontal direction. I'll just have to import it as well. So this will be direction component, or horizontal direction, sorry. Direction. There we go. Okay. And I'll add an init function here as well. So we'll get horizontal direction. And I'll guess the direction can be left to start with. All right. We can even put something in here. So let's just put a direction in here directly instead. There we go. So now we can go back to our initial scene and we can simply put left in there. All right. Now we can add this to anything we want now, including monsters. So let's do that also. Well, actually, before we do that, I want to actually implement so that this works, because yeah, I was starting to implement it here. But if we were to run this now, Oh yeah, we can't because there's an error over here. Yeah. So actually, we need to add support for this here. So instead of grabbing the player component, we actually need to grab the player direction. So this would be horizontal direction. And this, I simply replace that. Okay. And do we have any other errors? Yes. And we need to grab the direction in here. Direction. And easy to actually break this out, to be honest. And direction. Okay, and now we have over here as well. Do we have the direction? No. Okay, so let's just get it up here then. And then player direction there. Okay. So now I think we should be able to run it. No, still got some issues. Oh, has some residual stuff in here. I think now we're good to go. Run it here and you can see, yeah, okay. So it still works now because we actually updated the system for it, I guess. Except, yeah, we're back to our old issues. And that's because we didn't actually made any changes to the animation system. So I'm planning to actually, yeah, I didn't explain this, but I'm gonna actually add the logic for the flip in here instead. So I'm gonna get the direction component in here. After we've updated the texture component, I'm gonna get the direction component. And then I'm gonna just set horizontal flip to be. So we're just gonna assume here that by default, all animations are to the left. And oh yeah, so we also want to check if we have a direction component. So if we have one, then we get it here, and then we can set the horizontal flip is going to be, I'm not getting anything, but it's direction, and if it's right. Yeah, and this is horizontal direction, and we also need to import that. Horizontal direction. Okay. So yeah, now this should actually fix the flickering issue, hopefully. And yeah, it looks good. I don't see any flickering. All right. Okay, cool. So that fixed the issue. And yeah, so it was simply a matter of order of operations. And you got one frame where state wasn't really matching up. So now we should be able to go in here and remove all things that has to do with the horizontal flip. So we can remove this, and we can also remove that, and then we don't even need these things. Okay. And then let's see, do we have any other references to this? We have here, yeah, here we're simply, yeah, here's where we set the direction, so we should still do that. Yeah, that's it. So okay, so let's see if it still works now. Yep. Okay, cool. So now the animation system basically knows about the direction. So all right, so we fixed the flicker issue, and now Let's see what was in our to-do list. So now we can actually, yeah, we can add the monster hurt animation. And for that, we can go into our animation tool. Okay, so here you can see the tool, and it's very basic right now. But here is the actual texture that you load in, and you can, if it's too large, you can scroll to see everything. And we have our name of the file here, which is createanimations.json. And we have a save button to save the animations, and here's the list of animations that you can that we already have. And here you can add a new animation. So let's look at the idle animation. And here you can see all the frames that's included in this animation. You have the preview where you see the actual animations. This is really useful for when creating animations, so you don't have to like hard code in the stuff and adjust in the code and then recompile everything and yeah, try to find a situation where you actually see the animation. You can just preview it directly in here. So it's really nice. Quick and dirty little tool that I made here to more easily be able to do this. And here are some parameters. You can set the name of the animation. This button doesn't do anything. I should probably remove that. Here's the delete animation, so you can delete the whole thing. And we have the base frame duration here, which is 0.2 seconds. We have then the size of each frame here, which is 32 by 32. So each one of these sprites is 32 by 32. And it's not spaced by anything, so they are all right beside each other. And here are all the frames, so you can select each frame, and you can, if you want, you can delete one frame, or you can set specific things for each frame. So you can set the origin, which is 0, for everything right here. You can also set the scale duration for the specific frame. So you can see the first frame is actually longer than the other frames. So this one we scale up by 10, the other ones are scaled to 1. So yeah, that's basically the whole tool. And you can switch to this attack animation. You can see it here. So what we're going to do is we want to create, we are going to create a new animation, which is the hurt animation, or damaged, or I'm going to call it hurt. So the hurt animation, I think basically we want to start here. And I just click on these to actually add the hurt animation. So you can see it's kind of like, since it's like a blobby kind of monster, you bash it with something or slice it and it kind of deforms into this shape here, and then he like morphs back into his original shape, or its original shape. I'm thinking of maybe even having, I wonder if I should have, oops. I wonder if I should have start with that and then go back like this, so it looks like you're kind of pushing into it a little bit. And then maybe have this a bit longer. Not really, maybe not that much longer, but yeah, something like that. So it's like, it start out here. So yeah, so that's basically it. And then you click save. And now we have this animation in our file. And we can just import it now. And now we just copy this file. So I will copy, it was named this, so I will just copy that over here. Okay, so now I actually have this animation. And to use it, we go to init animations, create animations. So here we have our animations, and this is what we were doing last time. And so we can actually, well, we need to add this new field here, but we'll call it hurt animation. And we need to change this to hurt. Okay, so now we need to add it here as well. And here. And yeah, that's it for adding the actual animation. So now we can actually also, yeah, so this is a great point to continue here, because we probably want to add this as a new state as well for the monster. So we have idle and attack, and let's have hurt as well. And so this could be its own state, because I want to know how long it's going to be hurting. So hurt and at. And that's going to be hurt. Okay, so now we got this state. And we got a couple of switches where we don't look at this state now. But I think for this, we basically just want to copy the attack logic. And yeah, so that's basically the same thing. Okay, so now we can exit the hurt state, but we don't have anywhere where we actually enter the hurt state. We also have state here. So yeah, this is the animations part. So we just copy this over and we set this to hurt animation. All right, that should be it for that. Okay, so now we have, I guess, support for having the hurt animation. But as I said, we don't have anywhere where we actually set the hurt animation. So what I'm thinking is where we set it, well, the player needs to attack and the player needs to be close enough to the monster to actually hurt the monster, and the player needs to be in the correct direction as well. So this would probably like be in its own system somehow, like attack system or something. I'm just gonna add it straight up to the app update for now. Let's look at our update here. All right, so we got the player system update. We might do it in there, maybe, because we do have attack. If we are attacking, so while we are actually attacking, we want to hurt everything that jumps into our sword at that point, or do we want to have a specific like point in time, like it only occurs in like one frame? So monsters can't just go walk into your sword and they will be hurt. Yeah, I think we want to start with just doing the easiest thing here. So let's just have it so that if they go into the sword while attacking, or yeah, if they go into the sword, basically, they will be hurt. So what we want to do then is, first off, we want to get the rectangle where the sword will hit. Basically get the hitbox of the sword. Okay. Then we want to get all intersections of monsters with the hitbox. And then we basically set state of those monsters to hurt. Okay, I think that's basically what we want to do. So how to get the hitbox of the sword? I think basically you take the player position and you add a vector that basically represents how far away is the sword. Then you make a rectangle around that vector. And you also want to take the player direction into account. We need the player body. So let's get the body here. So this will be the player body. It's going to be get, and we can get the const here. Actually, let's just use get here to be safe. And this is gonna be the player. Wait, player is, oh, this is, okay. So we actually want to get the entity now instead. So let's actually do data. because then we get the player entity. And then we need the player component is going to be you get player, yeah. And so everything in here is called player. We want to replace with player components. There. Okay. And then now we have the player body. Okay. So we have the player position now. And we need the direction as well. So attack direction. So we need player direction. And we are, oh, oops, this is rigid body as well, yeah. And this is going to be horizontal direction. So we need to import that. Okay, and then we want to calculate the attack direction. Actually, you know what? I want to put a convenience function in here. So 2 radians. And yeah, like this. So we're basically just going to return if direction is right, then we return 0. Else we return math pi. Okay, that's 180 degrees. Yep, so that's the radians. And then we can simply get pair direction to radians. So now we have the attack direction. And we can get sort of the center of this sword if we want. Let's do player body. And let's grab the ABB and the center point. And then we do add. And then we do attack direction. And we want to scale, or actually, this is going to be, let's import CLM here. Yeah. And this is, so I want to take the direction, attack direction, but since attack direction is a scalar, we need to do vec2. So we could do unit x, which should be just 1, 0, yeah. And then we can scale that by the attack direction. Okay. And so that basically makes sure that, yeah, we move in. So the direction is like, actually, you know what? This is not working correctly because it's radians. It's not like a negative number that we can scale like this. We actually need to rotate this by attack direction. And I'm not actually sure that this is radians. It seems to be, since it's just using cosine. So yeah, so it's radian. Okay. So yeah, so now we're actually taking the center of the player and we're moving the point towards the attack direction. But then we also want to scale it by some value. We want to scale it basically the width of the player. And now we actually want to take, yeah, we have the width of the player in, so width is going to be width here. So that's the width of the player. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about this. I think probably the better way to do this is to have a separate, hitbox that's already defined instead of trying to like calculate it like this. But we're just gonna do it like this for now to get it working, and then I'll think about what would be a better way of doing it. But we just basically we just wanna make this work, and then we can fine tune it to make it look good. So this would be the center point of this hitbox center. All right. And now I want to create a new rectangle. So we want to create the hitbox. It's going to be like AABB from center point. And we'll provide a center and then a size. So the size is just going to be something that we have to decide. I'm just going to use the same width as the player right now. So we'll do Vic2 or width. It's probably not correct, but we'll just do that for now and we'll see. So that's the hitbox. Now we also need the ABB. And we also need to implement from center as well. Let's do from center. Center point is a vector. And then a size is also the vector. Actually, you know what? I just do half size. Size scale by half. So we just, the min would be subtracting the half size, and the max will be adding the half size. There we go. Okay, and it's minimal, I guess we'll set it to, yes, we have to put it here. Okay, now, right, so shadows declaration of center. Oh, okay, let's just call it C, I guess. And size, I guess. Oh my god. Okay, center. Let's just add a thing here so it's easier to see where it's supposed to be representing. It's one of my like pet peeves with this is like it's really easy to, since they don't allow shadowing, is like, yeah, you can see here the name collisions for me coming from other programming language that actually allows this. It's a bit annoying that you have to have separate names if it's only the context is within this. But I understand why they do it, because then there's no way of calling center from outside, even though this is actually not a, you actually don't call center like that from here. This is not a member function, or yeah, I realize that you can call it, but yeah, I don't know. It's just something about that whole situation that feels off a little bit. So, I mean, I understand the reasons behind it, but it feels like there should be some sort of solution to that problem that makes it easier to work with, because it's a bit annoying to have to deal with it. And it might be some organizational issue that I'm not using proper organization for this, but yeah, I don't know. I've hit that problem a number of times, and it's a bit annoying. But anyway, so let's see. Yeah, yeah. So now we should have this function. Yeah, there we go. LSP takes a bit of time to work through that, and yeah. So now we have our hitbox. And so we have our hitbox. Now we are on number 2. So we actually want to get all intersections. And that means that we need the physics system in here. And I don't think we added it to the registry system. So I'm not sure if, yeah, you can actually do that. Do it like this. So we'll get the physics system like this. And we do have the registry here. And we need to import the physics system as well. There. Okay, so now we have the physics system. And what we can do with that is we do a find intersection with a rectangle. And the rectangle is the hitbox. And this will result in a slice that we need to actually deallocate as well. So, but we'll get this slice. So this is the intersections. And now we can, so we actually need to get the allocator as well. I'm not sure if we actually have the allocator. Maybe we can add it as a singleton as well. So let's just do that. Let's just add our allocator here. There. So now we have our allocator, and I can grab it using the same way. So that's really nice to have like a container like that. You can, because you don't really need to pass around, because the alternative was to add allocator into here and then use it like that. But since we can add it to a registry, we can just grab it out from there, and it works really nice. So, and this is not really something that happens a lot, so it won't really take that much time also. So let's get our allocator out, and we need to import this. Okay. Right, so now we can loop through. Oh yeah, so we need to do this. So allocator free intersections. There. And now we can loop through all the intersections. And we will get our intersection here. You want to get the entry key. So this is the entity that we're actually kind of like colliding with the hitbox here, or hitting with the hitbox. And then we want to see, is this a monster? So we want to grab the monster component, or the monster AI component. So we'll do registry, and we'll get, or we do a try get actually, because it might not be there. So this would be monster AI component, and we'll pass in the entity. Now we need to import the monster AI component. Okay, so we grab the entity from the intersection, we grab the monster from the registry, and if we have a monster, let's call this maybe monster. If we have the monster here, this happens every frame while the attack is running, so maybe we just want this to check also if the monster has the state of hurt. And if it has, then we actually just wanna don't do anything more here. But if it doesn't have hurt, we will set the state to be hurt. And we need also, actually now we also maybe even want another convenience function to actually hurt the monster, since we need to calculate the duration as well. And let's have a function just called hurt. We don't pass anything right now. We might do like amount of damage or anything like that later. But let's just say, so we set the state to hurt, and we also need hurt and at. And now we need to calculate how long this will happen. Actually, what we do need is the absolute time in here. And what we also want to do is we want to have, we want to have monster hurt duration. And let's just set it to like, I don't know, 1 second or something. Or how long was the animation? Let's load up the animation studio and see. So we have 0.1, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 frames with normal scaling. So that's 0.4 seconds. And then we have 5, so that's 0.5 plus, so 0.9 seconds is the total duration. So we can say 0.9, so that's in seconds. And then we can say t plus monster hurt duration. Semicolon there. All right, so now we have a hurt function that we can just call now, and we need to pass in the absolute time there. I think we have that already. Yes. What's going on here? Oh, this needs to be player. From center. Oh, yeah, and minimal is true. Okay. So, cool. Yeah, so, oh yeah, so that was number 3. Yeah, so we basically, we do all this, so it turned out to be a bit of a lot of things happening here. But we could basically calculate the hitbox of the sword, and we find all the intersections of that hitbox, and then we loop through them, and for each monster, so we check if it's a monster, we grab the monster AI here, and we check, are you already hurt? Then we don't do anything. If you're not hurt, then we set your state to be hurt. All right. And we don't really know how well this is going to work, because the sword, the hitbox, we don't really know where the hitbox is. But I'm going to guess, since if we launch this now and we'll check the collision boxes, you can see that the player width is actually not that large. So we are moving. Let's see if we can even, no. Okay, wait. What's happening there? Like the attack animation stops. Interesting. Okay, so when I hold this button down, it stops. Okay, but anyway, so we're taking the center of the player, and we're moving the box in the direction of the player. It feels like it should hit the monster here. Maybe it's like maybe it's like overriding it because of the attack animation. Let's see. So we are. It might be order of operations again that spooks this. That is the bug here. So we are setting the state here. The hurt is set from the player update, the player system, and the player system is called first. So first we do set that to hurt. All right, and then when we run this, we start the frame. So, all right, so what you could do instead of setting the state from outside is you can actually have like pending damage or something like that. So you can have, let's say, let's say we have just adding it here. So let's say that we have like pending damage, and this would be some sort of floating value, I guess. And then what you could do is you can have this hurt function, and then we'll just say how much damage are you gonna take, and we don't really set the state from here, so we don't need this t value. But what we do want to do is we want to, so we're not entering her state here, but what we are doing is we are setting the damage, the pending damage, to be plus equal to this damage. So we want to reset this pending damage, but we want to do it at the end of the frame. So we'll have an end frame as well. And we'll just set pending damage to 0. Okay. So then what we'll do, actually, you know what? Let's not do that, because we want to have that be handled in here. So we'll start the frame. We'll check here if the monster has pending damage. And if it has pending damage, then we want to set the state to, if it has pending damage, then we want to set the state to hurt. And at is going to be monster AI hurt duration plus T. There. Okay. So, and then we also reset this pending damage. I'm not sure if this is a good pattern to do it, but at least it solves the issue for now. And what you can also do as well is in the hurt, you can have other stuff. So let's say the monster is temporarily invulnerable or something like that. Then you simply don't add the pending damage. So yeah, you can do stuff like that with this as well. But yeah, let's not dwell on that. So in this way, we can actually update the state like this instead. And then the state would be hurt down here. So yeah. Let's go to player, and I'll see. So this would actually be, I guess, just 1. It doesn't matter. It's a damage. We don't have a concept of damage yet, so I'll just add 1 there. Okay. So let's see if this works. We'll approach the monster, hurt it. Oh, it was hurt. Okay, cool. But it looks a bit weird. So yeah, I mean it works, but it's a bit there's some bugs here that we need to figure out. So why is it like moving like that? I'm gonna double check the animation here. It feels like the animation was correct, but yes, and the origin. Oh, you know what? The issue is the origin. I actually set the origin to be 0, 0 for the center, but I forgot to update this program. It automatically sets like half the size to the origin. So now the origin should actually be correct. So let's save that. Okay, so I forgot to turn off the animation studio, so that was blocking the view. But I'll fix the origin issue, I hope, now. So let's try to make a new animation, the death animation maybe. And you can see the origin is now 0, 0 by default. Okay, cool. And yeah, so so let me also show the updated animation here. So yeah, you can see now we can actually hit the monster when we are standing near it. like this. And yeah. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to fix, like the draw order, and maybe fix something with the graphics, because it doesn't really, the monster doesn't really react where we are hitting it. It's like slightly above, but I'm not really sure that I want to have this animation as the player like hit animation as well. So it might also look a lot better when the player is drawn in front of the monster as well. But yeah, we've done all these. All right, you know what? We're also gonna do this episode, I think. So what I'm thinking is I want to introduce a health component and a health system and some sort of death thing happening. So let's bring this in here. And okay, so for this one, I think we need a health component, which is going to include the health, the current health and max health of the entity. It's going to be real simple for a first iteration here. And then we're going to have a health system, which will take care of updating the state of that. Also going to take care of death, because if you have health, there's also the concept of death. But let's just start there and we'll see how it will pan out. So I'm gonna go to here and let's add a health file. So first off, we want to have the health component. Now in here we would have health, which is the current health. And I'm gonna set this to float for now. I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but because the main issue I'm thinking of is like precision for this. So maybe it's actually better to have it as an integer. You know what? Let's just have it as an integer for now. So let's have it as a, I guess, U64. No, U32 is probably enough. Okay, and then max health, yeah, that's also gonna be U32. All right, let's just add an init function for convenience. And this is gonna be, yeah, just return this. Oops. Health is, so let's just say, what is the max health? And we'll start out with max health here. All right, so that is our component, basically. And I believe we probably want to have some sort of pending damage thing that we have in the other, that we just implemented in the monster AI. So I think instead of having it here, I would probably move pending damage over to the health component instead. So, I mean, yeah, because that's where, you have this system or this concept of having health and damage. So I think I want to change the type to U32, and let's get rid of that. And now to actually hurt, we actually want to move this function over to the health component instead. Okay. And now this would be a health component. And this damage will be U32 instead. All right. So, yes. And let's also add a health system. So we need an update function. And yeah, we need the registry. All right, now basically we want to go through each health component And if there is pending damage, basically reduce health by that damage, I guess. And then if the health is below 0, we want to have some sort of death event happening. I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but we'll see how this works, because we don't really have any sort of event system in place. There's a bunch of different ways you could do that. Yeah, let's just start by having this view here. So let's just do basic view, and this would be the health component. And then we can just go through each health component here. Of course, we don't get LSP. All right, so I think we just want to say if health has pending damage more than 0, then we want to set health to be, well, just like this, pending damage like that. And then we want to say, like, you know, if our health is less than 0, I guess we can have it up here. Then we want to have some sort of death event happening. And I'm not exactly sure how we want to do that, but let's just move this first, and we'll think about that later. So yeah, we still want to have some sort of hurt state for the AI, I think. The issue now becomes, since we don't have the pending damage in here, we need to make sure that the update is happening at the correct, or in the correct order. So we want to have the health system happen like after the AI, so that we can look at the pending damage. And yeah, for each monster here, we want to get also the health system. And I guess maybe not all monsters has health, but let's just assume that they have. Or we can just say try get to make it like they might not have health. Just need the health component. Did I say system? Okay, health component. Health. Okay. So yeah, now we have all the health, and we can look at that instead. All right. And same thing for that. All right. And we don't do anything else with that. All right. Okay, so, oh, there's no try get. Oh, wait, there's no try get for health component. Okay. Oh yeah, we need to actually try get from the entire registry here, because the view doesn't have the health component in it. Okay. Oh yeah, and then we only do this if we have monster health. So if we have monster health, then we do this. Probably wanna put this into a function, but let's just do this for now. And this will be health. Okay. Yeah, and now this one doesn't have hurt. We need to get, actually here we actually want to get monster, and then if it's a monster we want to get the health as well. So we actually want to get health there. So we get the health component, and only if we have health component we want to say hurt. Okay. And we need to import health component as well. There. All right, no more compiler errors. So, okay, now we should be having a health. However, we don't really see if we actually reduce health or not. So let's just log this for now and see if it actually works. So damaged, health left, I guess. Let's do this after. There. Let's do this. That's an integer. I guess it would be an integer anyway, so let's just do this. I'm not sure what format it will do. And here we will just say death. Oops. Okay, we'll import standard library. There we go. Okay. No more errors. Okay, so we need to do one more thing. We need to add the health health component. Well, we need to add both health component and use call the update function in the health system as well. So let's go to init cleat and the AI current texture. We also want to have health component. And we need to import this as well. Let's just do it here. Health component. And let's have like, I don't know, 2 HP for this monster. Okay. Let's actually do 3. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we should actually see the, error. Oh yeah, I need to source my section as well. Missing struct field pending damage. Oh, yeah, pending damage is 0. There we go. No more compiler errors. Let's run this. It's taking a bit longer. Okay. Okay, so we can. Okay, so it didn't. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually call the update function in the health system. So let's go to our update function. Now we want to have this run after the monster AI system. So let's do that. All right, let's go do that. What's happening? Okay, so let's see. Yeah, this needs to be a pointer. It's nice. That's a really nice catch from Sig, actually. This would have taken maybe, I don't know. I mean, depending on how far you're into a project, this kind of error will mess you up and take huge amounts of time, and it's just a stupid mistake. And it's really nice that Zig actually catch this error here. Because, yeah, if you didn't have this safety thing from the compiler, then yeah, as I said, that it would take a really long time, potentially a really long time to actually debug that kind of thing. So I really love that. Okay, oh yeah, wait, so no, it didn't. Oh, you know what? We are actually clearing the pending damage in the monster AI. We actually don't do that. we just check if there is pending damage, and then the health system will take care of actually clearing that. All right. Now we should see crash. Okay. Okay, so the issue was that there was an integer overflow where we tried to lower the health from 0 to -1. And yeah, the Zig has built-in checks for that, so it panics in that case. Now, what you could do is there's a couple of things that you could do to prevent this error. So one thing is to actually just delete the entity so it wouldn't it wouldn't happen, basically. Another thing you can do is use another type of setting this value. So Zig actually has a couple of different ways, a couple of different operators. Okay, so as you can see here, we have this normal sort of operators that exist in almost all programming language. But then you also have this wrapping addition. So this would actually do a wrapping behavior. So you can see here that if you have the max value here, a 32-bit unsigned integer, and you do a wrapping, then it will go like roll over to 0 from that. So it will go from this to 0. So that's the wrapping. But then you have this also saturating addition, which would actually just not modify if you have max value here. So for an 8-bit number, you have 255 is the maximum value. And if you do plus and then pipe 1, it will actually not modify the value at all. So there's these two different ways to actually add numbers that prevents the panic from happening. So let's go back here and we can actually, I think we want to use the percent. No, not the percent. We want to use the or the pipe operator like this. So that will actually prevent the panic from happening. Okay, but yeah, so we've got this system working. We just want to implement some sort of death thing happening. So what I think I want to do for now is just have the monster actually just deleted. So that's really easy with the ECS system, because you can just do registry and then remove all or remove, let's say, remove all components for entity and make it orphaned. Removes given component from an entity. What is it? Delete, clear. How do you remove an entity? Destroy. Yeah, destroy. Okay, destroys an entity. So that I think would also remove all the components as well. Yeah, it does. So you can see in the source code here in ECS. So let's actually just destroy this entity. Oh, and now I actually need to change it. This always happens. This in some way or another, there's like no way you can just use a basic view and use the raw thing like this. You always have to do this and get the entity, and you will get the help. At least in my experience so far. It's quite funny actually. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna do get entity there. Now this is a mutable. Now we also, oh yeah, so we have the entity, so we can just pass it in here now. Okay, and let's remove that. I'm not sure if it actually, oh yeah, this needs to be equal to now. Let's just do equal to or less than. Even though it's an unsigned integer, it like covers if it were to change to like an signed integer. Okay, so now we should see the monster actually like disappear once it's taken 3 damage. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Okay, nice. That feels really cool. Already, that feels really good to actually have it disappear. Boom. Okay, cool. And you basically stun it as well. It's kind of an artifact of having the state change. The hurt is kind of like a stun as well. Okay, cool. So we've got actually now. That was easier than I expected. So we got the health and death system. So we got health components, we got health system. We also have destroy entity on death. And I want to have other things happening also, like maybe the monster can like have a loot table and it can drop stuff on death or stuff like that. And there's also, yeah, actually one thing I want to add is a death animation. So let's do that as well. So what we can do first is run our source. We can run our animations tool and we can make a death animation. Okay, so I think I want to have this first and then this. Yeah. So I want to have the first frame a bit longer, I think. Maybe. So it's like a bit slow first and then goes faster. Maybe even like this. I don't know. Let's try that and see. So yeah, that's it. We're gonna save that. And let's just calculate the length. Maybe I should have a total length label here. Actually, let's just add that. So it's animation instance, and then let's just add that somewhere. So I want to have it basically not in the frames, maybe to the right of the duration stuff, like here, over here somewhere. So let's do after frame duration. I want to save the Y here, frame duration Y. It's gonna be actually precision, and this is gonna be the translate vector. So we basically save the translate vector here, and then we're getting into like this UI stuff here. But yeah, I'll just show you here. So I'm copying this translate. So this translate is basically saying where to draw next, basically, or where to like. This is the position that we are currently have our kind of drawing pencil right now. So this UI will be drawn based on this vector. And I want to save that position. So after I've done the frame duration, I want to reset. I want to also do grid size input, grid size X position is going to be, let's say, there. And after that, I want to set it back to frame duration plus only X. So I want to set it, I guess, something like this. And then I want to draw the frame total duration, total animation duration. And then I want to set the translate back to grid size position. Okay. So let's add that. Animation total duration UI. We don't get the state. We just want to get the animation. And this is a void. Okay, so here we do a label. we have position 0, and then we have. All right, so we would need sort of like a buffer here. So let's add that. So let's have a buffer, and this is a undefined, and then you do format buff print set, and you pass the buffer. The format is going to be the text that we want to have in the buffer. So this is going to be total duration, and then a number with maybe, I guess, 2. Let's do 3 here just to be safe. And then actually let's have this 64 just to be safe as well. Oops. Just to be safe as well there. Okay, and then the duration, let's calculate that. So this would be taking all the frames. So let's just have it be 0, and we'll do a loop, and we'll go through each of the frames, both items, and we will do total duration. It's going to be plus equals frame and duration scale, and then animation frame duration. All right. I think that should be it actually. And then we should have our total duration, and we can use it here, total duration. All right. Oh, I forgot this here. And so now we have our string, and then we can pass that on to here. So this would need a pointer. And then, oh yeah, this actually returns the actual string that we need. So let's just get that and put that there. All right, and that should be it. So now we have our label. And yeah. Now we should actually see the total duration, I believe. Let's see. Nope. Oh, because we're not calling this function. Okay. Animation duration, state, animation. There we go. Let's see if it works now. Oh, another failure. Oh yeah, this needs to have a size, so I think it's F32. Or a type, I mean. Expected, this, found, that. Oh yeah, and this, let's just catch unreachable here. We should have plenty of space for that. There we go. And now we get this total duration. It's a bit off. Let's add some more space for it. So let's do, I guess, times 2. And there we go. Now we have our total duration. And I think we need to add a little bit of more space for it. So a really easy way to fix this is just to shorten this to total duration like this. And now we should have enough space. Okay, total duration is 0.9. So that's really nice to actually be able to just quickly see the total duration, so you can use that in the game as well. Okay, cool. So the total duration will be 0.9 seconds. And let's go back here, and we need to copy this over again. And we need to import this animation now. And this animation there. And we need to actually have this field. And there's a better way to actually store these animations, but yeah. Maybe you can just access the animations struct immediately instead. Because, yeah, then you don't have to deal with all this. Like doing this instead of doing that. But, yeah, I don't know. Let's just do this. Okay, so now we have the death animation imported. Now we need to use it. So let me think here. So maybe we should actually have that in a separate system that has like, you don't have a state of death. You actually have a death component or something like that. Yeah, I think that's probably the route that we should go for. So let's actually introduce that. So let's have a death system. And first we need a death component. And I'm not sure what to put here. I think I want to put like duration, like how long will this happen? And let's put, so end at or destroy at. And that will be a timestamp. Okay. Or a, yeah, absolute time marker. And let's just pass that in here. It's not void, it's death component. Okay, death component, destroy at equal to destroy at. There we go. And gravitated towards adding init functions for all because I like that pattern and it's nice to just do it like that. But instead of having different ways of doing it for each thing, it's better, I think, for my sanity to actually have this available for everything. Okay, and now we want to have a system. So let's have a dev system. And we need an update function with the registry. Let's import that. And we need the absolute time because we want to measure against that. Okay, now let's make a view. And yeah, let's just make it a basic view for now. So this would be a dev component. Actually, you know what? We could actually make a view that has both health and death because, or maybe not. Maybe the health system actually just adds a death component. Yeah, let's do that instead. So let's have a death component here, and we can go through. We don't. Well, yeah, we actually need to go through every entity like this, and then we get the component like this. So we will do view get entity, and then if death destroy at is less than or equal to t, then we call registry destroy entity. Okay. All right. I'm not sure why it doesn't get it. Okay. It should work. And so now we got that update function. Now we can call this. So we will call this after the health system then. The T as well. So let's actually add it here. They are very closely related. Okay. Now in the health system, instead of destroying the monster, we simply add a death component. So we want to add to the entity a death component. Now we need to import the death component. And we also need to have the the duration as well. So that could be its own component, where you like set the specific death time. We could have that as a component as well. That would make it really. Well, and then you just add that to the monster. It could be part of the monster AI, but I think we want to break it out. Let's just add this in the death file. So you would have the death component, but you also would have a death time component. So this would basically be like a setting, and you would not really use it until you want to have until you actually want to create a death component. I think this would work pretty good actually. Let's have a death duration, and there might be like tons of different ways to actually do this, but this is what I thought of right now. So let's just do that. And yeah. Now we actually want to get the death time component. I guess if we don't have, then we just say, let's just say it's instant. So death time would be try get death time component. Let's import that as well. For this empty. And so death duration is going to be if death time. We will get this here. Death duration. Otherwise, we'll just say 0. Yeah. And we actually also need to have plus t. Okay, so then we actually need to have t here and add it in the initial scene as well. Okay. Let's see. Oh, to be equal sign there. Okay. No compiler errors. Okay, so now in our health system, we actually add the death component. We grab out the death time component if there is one, and we use that for determining the death duration. Otherwise, we set this to 0. What we actually would want, though, is we want to get the dead state here. And if the entity is dead, then we don't really need to do anything. So if we have monster death here, we can just continue. And we need this component. All right. On construct. So what you can do. Yeah, this doesn't really say anything here, but it's basically whenever a component is added to an entity, you can actually bind a listener to that event. So what you could do is you can bind a listener to a death whenever a death component is added, you run a function, and that function will set the animation based on what you have set the animation to be for the death animation. So what you could do is you can say, okay, well, you can actually create another component for the death system, which can be I mean, this could even be in here, like DeathSettingsComponent or something. Settings. Like this. And then you have death duration. So this could be nullable if you don't really care what it should be. You can have death animation. So that would be the equivalent of this, which is animation serialized. You can have animation serialized there. I guess you would need both if you want to actually set these things. So let's actually try this. So this would be animation there. So now we got that, and then we can add animation there, and this would be a pointer to animation serialized, and that's animation there. All right, and then instead of checking for death here, well, we could actually just return well, actually we wouldn't really get in here because this only happens on change state, so I don't think we actually get there. What we could do is have update death. Let's do, actually, we want like an init function for this init animation. So let's have it over here. So this would be init death animations. And we need our scene. And what we do is we say c.registry, and we say on construct, and we want to say if we have a death component. Now we have a sync type, which you can not initialize. You can actually do, so before it's added, connect. So this one connects a callback to the sync. Okay. I think that's what you want to do. You want to connect, what's this, connect bound. Oh yeah, we probably want to use this so we get the context as well. So we need a function that is this bind function here. So this is a delegate params bind function type of blah, blah, blah. So what is this? It basically is going to be on death component added, and the context will be the scene. And then you also need other stuff as well. So we'll just put this in here on death component added with we don't call it, we just put it there. And then the context is going to be the scene. Okay. And let's call this function after we've initialized all the animations. Okay. There we go. And now, whoops. Okay, I was hoping to get some errors here. I guess maybe it's the correct, maybe it is correct. I think we want to see if we get the entity as well. Let's just do this and see if we get some compile errors. Yeah. So here we can see expected type. So we get the scene, we get the registry as well. So that's good. And the entity is the U32 there. So we get the registry and the entity. So ECS entity. So now if we discard these to get rid of the compiler errors, to just see if it works. Yes. Okay, we do have a compiler error here. Oh yeah, I changed this. Let's change this as well. So this will be setting. Yes, settings component. There we go. This is the settings component. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's get back here. Okay, so what we want to do is now we've bound this death component added function to be called whenever a death component is added to an entity. So what we want to do is we want to get the death settings component from this entity. So we want to try get because it might not exist. So let's do that. Don't we have it? Maybe not in here. Okay, let's grab it here. Settings components. There. All right. For this entity. And if we have a death settings, then we want to set the animation of this entity. So we actually want to get the animation as well. I guess if it doesn't have an animation as well, it should have an animation. So if you have the death settings, then you probably should have an animation as well. So let's get this here. So let's get the animation when you have settings here. So let's get that. And this would be a animation instance, I believe. Now, and the entity. Okay. Yeah, like that. Okay. Oops. Okay, so now we set the animation and we set it to be the death settings, death animation. And the duration will be, oh, wait, we actually need the T here. Oh, that's an issue. Okay, well, it's not really an issue. We could actually do this. So we can actually just add T here as a convenience. Okay, you see nothing. Okay, good. And a semicolon. Okay, so we set the animation. And I guess this could actually be, well, I'm not sure if this warrants this location like in the scene or if we want to have it in a separate system or something. But yeah, and also you want to be sure that the order of operations is actually happening at the correct time. But yeah, we can try this and see how it works. All right. And well, yeah, we don't actually need this now. All right, and we don't need it here. There we go. And we don't need it there. Okay, no more compiler errors. Okay, I just need to get my bearings a little bit because a lot of things happen there. Let's actually see if this works now. So what should happen now is the monster should actually disappear immediately. Yes. And that is because we don't have a death time set or death settings component for the monster. So let's go to our initialize function for the monster and let's add that. Death settings. Now we need to make sure that this actually happens after with initialized animations, which we should have because we are using it up here. So yeah, the death duration is going to be 0.9. That's the duration of the animation. And then we have the actual animation here. Maybe we should actually have a function in the animation itself which calculates the total duration. Actually, I think that would probably be the best. But then you would also have to have it in the animation instance. The animation instance can also be scaled as well. But anyway, let's not do that right now. So, okay, now we've added that. Need this to be address or not. Oh, this is already an address. So what's the issue? Okay, so this has to say const here. No problem. And there as well. Okay. So now we have added the death settings. So now it should see if everything is set up correctly here, the monster to actually play the death animation. Oh, it crashed. Okay, let me just check this. Okay, so the issue is that this happens twice. Okay, so we actually want to check here if we are dead already. So that means that we could actually do a view here. So now we actually we can change this to a view, and the second argument we can use now, which is the exclude argument. So we want to get, this says that we want to get all entities that has the health component but does not have the death component. So now once we've added the death component, it will actually not be part of this here. So now, but now we also need an iterator as well. So let me just fix that. All right. Okay. And yeah, we need a type now. So this would be the health component. Get. It's the other way around. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So now it should exclude the ones that has the death component, which means this should only happen one time. So let's try if this works. Okay. So it looks like it actually worked. However, it looks like the animation didn't actually play. So let's check what's happening there. It's probably just order of operations issue again. So this sets the animation to death. And we also know that we have a death component. So when we update the animations, here, let's also now check if the monster is dead. Death component. And we do a try get. So we want to check if monster death is not equal to no. Then we don't want to update the animation. Oh, we need to do registry scene.reg. Now we're not updating the animation. We should see the animation change when it's dead now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, nice. So we'll do this. Oh, come on. Huh. Yeah, okay. Cool. So that works. Boom. And it's dead. Okay, cool. So yeah, we got the death animation working. All right, so we actually implemented a lot of things this episode. So we have the hurt animation for the monster, and we also have the death animation, and we have the health system so that the monster has 3 lives and then it dies, or 3 health. And so yeah, now we can actually kill the monster, we can hurt it, and we can kill it, and it will play the death animation. So cool. And we can use that also in the future to when we add more monsters, so we can just set what, with the death settings component, we can just set what animation should be played and for how long. And we can also add stuff like a loot table to may have the monster drop stuff when it dies, like money or I don't know, whatever you want to have. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned something. If you have any questions regarding game development or Zig programming or programming in general, then feel free to post down below. And well, thanks very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.